My name is Susanne Zepp-Zwirner. I'm a university professor at the University of Duisburg-Essen, one of Germany's largest and most diverse universities. I'm an Hispanist and Latin Americanist, so I studied Spanish, Latin American, Portuguese, Brazilian, and French literatures and cultures. And I did my PhD on an Argentinian writer, Borges. As a visiting professor in the Harris program, I'm teaching an interdisciplinary course on Jewish literature in Latin America. Belonging Beyond Borders is the subtitle. Many of the historical experiences that we are dealing with this semester include histories of migration. For instance, from Eastern Europe or Germany, before and also during World War II, to Latin America, for instance, to Brazil or to Argentina. So the protagonists of our course very often have different belongings and different historical experience that they tend to evoke in their text, but not in differentiating them, but in blending them together. So it's a very interesting take on questions of the self, of identity, very non-essentialistic, but very open to diverse cultures and historical experiences. When I translated the text, also when I chose the text, I thought about, okay, what can I bring to them? And one example is I brought them text in Ladino, Judeo-Spanish, which is a language of its own. It's a Jewish language that has components of early modern Spanish and components of the languages of the Sephardi diaspora. So it's a language of its own, and I wanted them to hear and to read that language with translations. What we do in class, we have them next to each other. Some of the students can read it, some of my students read Hebrew, some of them even speak Yiddish. They can compare the original. But what was so thought-provoking was when we got into comparisons of existing translation, not mine, because mine were really literal, but we saw, while talking about them in class, the students detected, but that's not the same. My Spanish is not good, but is it true? And I said, no, it's not. So we really talked about nuances and complexities of text and translation in a very, very intense manner, and that was great. We want the students, when they come out of college, to be citizens of the world, and we covered in that class not only European history, Mediterranean history, but also the entire continent of Latin America. And so I think they took away from that class the diversity of languages and cultures that come into play. They have a more nuanced view on Latin America, I hope, and also a differentiated understanding of migration and migration patterns, that Latin America wasn't always a continent that people fled, but was for a long time, much longer time, a continent where people migrated to. So that's, I think, very important to see and to include in their portfolios as future leaders. I learned a lot from that class because the students brought so many different own historical experiences to the table and were very open talking about that, and that made for a very intimate and kind atmosphere within the class, because we managed to touch upon topics that are not easy, but the students found a way to express them that really touched me, and I learned a lot from that, and trying to open up also about my own historical experiences was something that I rarely do in class, but they encouraged me to do it, so it was very, very rewarding, and I'm trying to take that with me to Germany. I'm really passionate about these intersections between languages, between disciplines, between cultural experiences, and I think this is why in all of my projects, but also in all of my teaching, I'm trying to bring that, and from my experience, students appreciate that. If they have let's say, a wider perspective, not only the disciplinary, glasses on, but sometimes take them off and see, that's also a question in philosophy or in sociology or even in psychology. So I'm trying to embrace that passion, and I also enjoy a lot working collaboratively across disciplines. I have several projects that I'm working on. I started a new book here in Dartmouth on a writer, poet, lawyer from Argentina, her family Ukrainian Jewish descent, and she was one of the first women to pursue a law degree at the Universidad de La Plata in Argentina, and wrote 8 volumes of poetry, and her work as a human rights lawyer for women's and children's rights and her poetry, they touch each other, and this connection is something that I'm really interested in. So it's a new book, and it's inspired by that course I'm teaching. And I also have an edited volume that I brought with me here, and I'm working on it. It's a volume on key legal concepts in law and literature. I'm editing it together with a colleague from law. And I have a new project, just won a grant from Rothschild Foundation for a project also related to the course I'm teaching here on German and Eastern European Jewish cultures in Latin America. I have to say that the Harris program is fantastic, and I'm very grateful to Viktor Witkowski, the director, and also to Kathleen Woodburn, the administrator of the program, because the preparation was perfect. They guided me through all the, visa and preparatory to-dos that I had to pursue before I flew here. And look, I flew in on Thursday, and then Friday was my first class because it was so perfectly organized. Catherine picked me up, she showed me the apartment was ready, even the fridge was full. Yeah. So I could just start teaching right away, and I appreciate that a lot. That's very unusual, I have to say, that hospitality and kindness in really making it the best experience for visiting professor. That's really, really wonderful, and I appreciate it a lot. I'm a big fan, really big fan.